Hello and a warm welcome to lesson number 1 of a whole series in which we bring artificial intelligence as a STEAM subject to our classrooms. We'll do that by bringing the Huskylens, the BBC Microbit and Microsoft MakeCode together in fun yet educational projects. This course is specifically designed for the beginning STEAM teacher and geared towards your classroom filled with eager 10-year-old students. No prior knowledge of programming or microcontrollers is necessary. We call this level the Scout level. My name is Peter, I am the founder of EdukoMondo, and I am a certified STEAM instructor and content creator. Although this course does not require any prior experience in programming, we do expect you to master the basics, such as we cover in our BBC Microbit and GeekPy DeskPy robot car series. If you are uncertain about the basic setup of the Microbit and Microsoft's MakeCode, please do have a look at lesson 1 of that particular series. In this series, we focus on artificial intelligence and specifically object recognition on the edge. We do that through a new component, the Huskylens, produced by the company DF Robot. It's been on the market for a couple of years, but since 2025, the demand for educational content related to artificial intelligence has gone through the roof around the world. In our advanced MicroPython lessons, we also touched upon object recognition, and I think it's fair to say that it quickly became quite complex. The Huskylens takes away much of that complexity because most functions are handled by a specialized chip embedded on the camera, thus making it also suitable for younger students, and it makes the lessons more fun. Moreover, once the setup is complete, there is no need for an internet connection anymore, making this very suitable for remote schools. And with a retail price of around $70, it is quite affordable to add a couple of these to your school's STEAM lab or code club. Let's take a closer look at the Huskylens. This is the basic version of the Huskylens, also known as version number 1. The heart of the Huskylens is a for artificial intelligence specifically designed chip developed by the company Kendrite. Because of this chip, the lens is very suitable for edge computing, as all computations are done on the device. No need to send the data to a server somewhere in the cloud to do the computation and then send the result back. Inevitably, this leads to latency, and latency is not what you want in, for instance, a self-driving car. Next, there is a 2-megapixel camera, and there are 2 buttons for interacting with the menu. A menu that appears on the LCD screen at the back of the camera. The connection with the microbit is through this I2C connection, which will also take care of the power. Or you can use an external power supply like a power bank or your laptop and connect it via the micro USB. As such, it's very portable and suitable to go hunting for machine learning objects without the need for a connection to, for instance, a laptop. And there is also a small slot for an SD memory card. For use in a classroom, I strongly recommend buying this protective cover. Students inevitably will drop the camera or step on it, and with this cover, at least it is somewhat protected, So let me put it on first so that you will see how it looks like a husky and where they got maybe the name from. Right, so finally we can connect the Huskylens to a power source. To start, I'm using a USB cable, which is from the microbit because there is no USB cable included when ordering the Huskylens. And as you can see from the screen, the Huskylens immediately comes to life. Let's have a look at the operation of the Huskylens. On top of the camera there are two buttons. One is a turning knob that wiggles to the left or right, and by pushing it you confirm a selection. On the other side there is a small round push button, and that is the Learn button. Click on the turning knob and at the bottom of the screen you see a horizontal menu bar appearing with options. And if we scroll through those options, you will see these are face recognition, push the button to the right and you see object tracking, object recognition, line tracking, color recognition, tag recognition, object classification, and finally we arrive at general settings. There are a couple of things to check under general settings before you start. Certainly if you work with a Huskylens that has been used by others in the past. First of all is the version. When creating this video in April 2026, the latest version was 051B norm. Make sure you always have the latest firmware on the device. If not, check the DF Robot website and follow the instructions to upload the latest firmware. The other element that we want to check is the protocol type. So wiggle to protocol type and set it to auto detect to make your life easy. For now, the other options are not that important. Let's start with our first project. And in this first project, we are going to use the object recognition function. In that function, the Huskylens has around 20 categories of objects, like airplane, bicycle, bird, boat, bottle, bus, car, cat, chair, cow, dining table, dog, horse, motorbike, and so on. So let's see whether the Huskylens recognizes this small car. I'm using a Toyota Jeep toy, but you can also use, for instance, a picture of a car. I set the Huskylens to object recognition and point the Huskylens to the car. You notice that it promptly detects that the image is indeed a car. Also pay close attention to the cross in the middle of the screen. Now, while we are in object recognition, we use the Learn mode by pushing the small Learn button and keep it pressed down. Point at the car and you will see that the frame turns blue and an ID number is given. In our case, it shows up as car ID 1. Now we have trained the model for further recognizing cars. Now the big question is, that's all very nice, but what can we do with it? Now for our projects, we will make the connection to the breakout board I2C pins and the BBC microbit. So I'm now going to disconnect the Huskylens from the external power and connect the microbit. Now I connect the Huskylens with the I2C pins of the breakout board. And connect the red wire to the 3.3 volt pin, the black wire to the ground pin, and if all is well, the Huskylens will come back to life. Now we need to continue and connect the green wire to the data pin and the blue wire to the clock pin. Now that we have done all of this, let's add some programming. Go to the Microsoft MakeCode environment and create a new project. Let's call it Husky Car. Click on Extensions and search for Huskylens. As you can see, the people from DFR Robot did an excellent job to create these blocks and libraries. Now make sure that you select the correct Huskylens because there are two versions. Once it's uploaded, you can see that the drawer appears in the programming environment. Now, while exploring the blocks, they may look a bit overwhelming, and I must confess that they are not very clear, but no worries, we'll make it work. The first thing on start is that I'm going to initialize the Huskylens. So I drag the block Huskylens initialize I2C until success. And the next step in the onStart block, I have to tell the Huskylens that I'm going to use the object recognition algorithm. So I'm dragging that block into or below the previous block. In the forever loop, I'm going to continuously ask the Huskylens for data and save that data to a variable called result. So that's a predefined block that we can use. And I'm going to add an if statement, a logical statement. So if the Huskylens gets an idea of the frame and it's going to be the same as 1, then it's going to show a string on the BBC Micro bit and it's going to print car. If it does not get an ID 1, then it's just going to show a cross icon. And that is why it's important to push the learn button and have this idea, because the program does not recognize the categories like boat or bottle or car or whatever. It has to be an ID number. So that's a very simple program, but let's see whether it works. So when the car comes into the picture, the BBC microbit starts to write car, and when I remove the car and nothing is detected, you can see that the cross is displayed. So let's try it again. Move the car into the vision of the Huskylens, and it detects a car. Microbit starts to write car on the LEDs, and when removing the car again, once again a cross is displayed. I could say mission accomplished. And that's it for this lesson. I hope you and your class enjoyed these very first steps in artificial intelligence, and particularly in object recognition. In our next lesson, we are going to explore object recognition more in depth with multiple object learning. I'm looking forward to see you in lesson number 2. Bye bye for now.